So how cool is this? 1936 Chevy Coupe Master. Pretty cool car. It's one of my friends. It's been sitting in his barn for many years now, and he wanted to get it out and drive it around some this year. So wants to get it inspected, and he's got it re-registered here so we can put it back on the road, and wants to change oil in it because it's been sitting for so many years. But it's a super sweet car, and it's all original interior. And as far as I know, all original everywheres. So it makes this thing really cool. Just like the features and stuff in the car for 1936. I can only imagine what it must have been like to go out, and get a car like this. These were, I think, around $500 or $600 brand new. So that's kind of something to think about, to know that we have cars, just your average, General Motors, sitting on the lot, anywhere from $25,000 to $70,000. So a little bit of inflation there over time. But this thing's pretty cool. It has all the necessities. You got your hand brake down here, so you can drive this thing like Ken Block if you want to. So that's pretty cool. That still works. You have your throttle and your lights and your choke, because the starter, you have to push the gas pedal a little bit off to the right and push it down to engage the Bendix on the starter. And it's got a 3-speed. It even has a heater, which was probably optional then. You got a full gauge set, which I think was kind of characteristic of the Master Edition, I guess. But like I said, I don't know a ton about these, but pretty cool. You got your hand crank smoker's window, or wing windows, I guess. Hand crank regular windows. A single sun visor. But super sweet horn. Serious horn. But pretty cool car. So those are your little vacuum wipers. So you can kind of just set whatever speed you want. Pretty slick, huh? Go uphill, you got no wipers. You go downhill, you got really good wipers. Then you shut them off. So I don't know if they must be some kind of spring assisted as far as returning them to park. Because when they return back to the window, it seems they go faster. Of course, when you shut them off, you can hear it bleed the vacuum in the dash, and then. So that's pretty cool. Cigar lighter for smoking your cigars. Makes you just want to get like a Tommy gun and drive around. So in order to start this, it has a regular key ignition, and you can see our points are closed because our amp gauge is reading down there. But you push the starter or the gas pedal here over to the right a little bit, and you push it down, and it manually engages the Bendix. Of course, you have a manual throttle. This must be like early cruise control. So that must have been nice for warming up in the morning. Of course, you have your choke, your headlights. Must have some kind of cutout relay or something. The amp gauge here goes down until you rev it up, then it pops up. High beam, low beam on the floor. Huh? What more can you ask for? No turning signals, no seat belts. And this here's the heater under the dash. It's pretty hot, of course. Well, temperature gauge is up to 180. We took a little toot around town there. But apparently you just open this thing up and drive. I guess it must just draft through there. So probably pretty effective. It's pretty warm, so pretty slick. I don't know if that's OEM or if it's aftermarket unit you had to buy, from GM to put on. I'm not sure, but pretty cool. Still has the gas rash stickers up there in the window, from back in the Depression. I guess when they ration gasoline, so that's kind of pretty sweet. I mean, just the level of detail they put in these cars was pretty neat. Like the little engravings of the Chevy and the, like in the tail lights and the brake lights, and even on the pedals and stuff on the inside. They got a little bow tie. So these are pretty cool. Check out the trunk. Hopefully there ain't no dead bodies back here. So that sucker's pretty heavy. mothballs. That's pretty neat, like actual plywood, probably horsehair. Didn't need your horse anymore, so you use it for insulation. Looks like it's got the spare tire and inner tube. That's pretty cool. Oh, that's some kind of, this must be like some kind of jack, perhaps. Pretty sweet, man. I see some wood, square nuts. Yep, pretty cool car. So you can see on the door here, it's got this little trough. So it must be that was so you could perhaps, have the window open, smoking your cigar without getting rain. I don't know. That's just my guess, but I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, check it out, man. Just these massive running boards. Ironically enough, a glove in the glove box. And of course our owner's manual, which is only that thick. Copyright 1936, that is pretty sweet. For the Master Deluxe and new standard passenger cars. Wow, that is so cool. It must be the pre-inspection sheet there from the dealer, where they go through and kind of check everything out for you before you buy it. Wow, that is super awesome. To have documentation like that. From back when the car was built and originally sold. Wow, that is so cool. This hood just lifts up. Got a little, it used to be rubbers or something. It's inline 6. I don't know what size engine they are. But a 6-cylinder. Oh, pretty sweet, pretty sweet. You should go for a ride in this thing. Also, we can see the mechanism on the starter there.
Only if I can drive it.
Before I get servicing this thing, I figured we could just take a quick spin underneath it, just kind of check this out. But car looks pretty solid still. The frame looks to be really solid, but just super cool. All the service points on it. As I was reading through the through the service manual there to see what all is going to need to be done. It's pretty overwhelming. There's a lot of inspection points and service points on this as far as fluid checks, and I mean, it's not just your standard, rear differential, tranny, engine type stuff. I mean, this thing has, everything from the water pump to the generator to, evidently these shock absorbers, I guess you would call them, in the back, the knee action suspension in the front, the steering gearbox, everything. It's pretty cool, but just to check this thing out, you've got your, your little gas tank there, but just how serviceable stuff was, drain on your gas tank, differential, like I said, I guess be our modern, equivalent to a shock absorber. So just how everything was rebuildable, repairable, serviceable, super cool. So these rods right here run to your handbrake. These little cables, your wheel cylinders are all hard piped in. One flexible brake hose. Of course, you got your fuel line coming out of the tank there. All cloth wrapped wiring. Kind of a interesting bracing system there they've got on the frame. Kind of cross brace type stuff. We've got our ABS unit here. Wow. Did you notice the drive shaft here for the rear differential is all encased? This is not the drive shaft, this is a cover. So this thing has to pivot, up here in the transmission. So that's pretty slick, and I don't know if this allows it to expand and collapse in here, but that's pretty wild. Of course, we've got our brake master cylinder here, and to check it, you have to go through the driver's side floor. There's that rubber plug up there to check the fluid level. It does have a brake light switch on it, so that is for your brake lights. So that's actually going to be your pressure switch. So that's what's going to turn on the lights, as opposed to, brake pedal switch like we're used to seeing. Kind of a similar concept, but works on pressure. And you've got your cloth wiring here. To kind of move that, and it's going to rub through there. So we'll have to kind of move that, but just really neat. Battery, it's under, looks like a wooden cover here on the passenger footwell. You can get to your 6-volt battery. I wonder how many of them got dragged down the road. But just look at your transmission. That's the entire transmission there. It's about the about the width of your hand. Just a little 3-speed gearbox. That's it. That's all there is for a tranny. Of course, your bell housing and clutch and stuff is here. But just to see how small that is, the transmission you could probably, pick up with one hand. There's just nothing to it. Then you've got your steering. So you've got your gearbox, your steering gearbox. It's up under the hood. It comes out to your, I guess it'd be a Pitman arm. And then I suppose, this would be like your drag link over to this wheel. Wow, and then your connecting tie rod end over to that knuckle. Geez, it's so much different. But this is I guess is what was, made this the Master Series, with this big knee action suspension. I guess this was kind of a big deal, as opposed to a leaf spring. So the car does ride absolutely fantastic. So it's pretty neat. Man, this thing is so cool. Yep, everything's kind of all covered up, just like modern day cars, except we use plastic. And the good old road draft tube. So that's your PCV system right there. Your crankcase ventilator, ventilated right onto the ground. Yeah, super cool. Alright guys, there you go. There's your 80-year-old 1936 Chevrolet Coupe Master. Pretty cool car. There's a zillion service points on this thing, so I kind of got to get busy getting this thing serviced out for them, get it back in a timely fashion. And And I would bring you along, but I just simply don't have time today. It's going to take me long enough kind of going through the manual and, you know, checking all the different service points and making sure it's, you know, roadworthy for this year, as much as he'll drive it. And yeah, looking through the manual stuff, it is kind of overwhelming to see the amount of service points that are on this and things that need, you know, lubed and checked and stuff. So it's pretty cool. In either case, I didn't want to miss the opportunity to show you guys this car. I think it's pretty sweet. And I usually don't fancy old cars very much because the majority of the ones we see come through our shop are absolute toilets. You know, $10,000 paint job, and that's about it. Nothing else works. Usually no brakes, no lights, no nothing. But this thing's pretty cool. This thing is a classic, man. This thing belongs in a museum. Super fun to drive too. I mean, it's quiet. It doesn't rattle. Floats over the bumps. I mean, you know, I could take that 2006 out there for a ride, and you know, thing's gonna shimmy and shake and it's gonna be rattling. But anyhow, neither here nor there. So Facebook, Google Plus, check us out there, and just remember, viewers, we didn't do anything. So thanks for watching.